Hello, I hope you're having an amazing day. So in this video, we're going to talk about the ChatGPT from the developer's perspective. Okay, so first of all, we would have to know that what is the ChatGPT if you don't know about it. So the ChatGPT is actually the computer of the Courage the Cowardly Dog. Okay, we used to watch in the childhood. Okay, it can actually answer anything you ask. All right, so but the theoretical definition of the ChatGPT is that it is actually the natural language processing tool driven by the AI technology that allows you to have a human-like conversations and much more with that chatbot. So actually it's a chatbot. Alright, so first of all, we would go into the ChatGPT. Okay, and you can see the link here. So first of all, we have to log in. If you haven't created the account, you can sign up here. That is a really easy process. Okay, so in the login, you can log in with your Google account, Microsoft account, and the Apple account. So we would go with the Google account. Alright, so now we are inside the ChatGPT and we can now write down anything we want to write. Okay, so let's just do a greeting to our ChatGPT. Hi. Okay, so I don't want to have this sidebar, so let's just do a little magic trick here. So we'd go into the inspect and we will do a magic trick here. That would be okay. So this is it. All right, so the ChatGPT is using the Tailwind CSS and I want to hide this sidebar. So this is how we can do it. Alright, so the first thing you can ask the ChatGPT about the programming is the questions, programming related questions, the computer science questions, and anything related to the development process. Whether it could be the data structure, web development, mobile development, and AI. We can even discuss the problems with the ChatGPT. Alright, so I want to know that what is the big O complexity. I hope I'm not making any spelling mistakes. So let's just see. Okay, so we have the answer. Big O notation. Okay, it's actually the big O notation. Alright, so this is the answer of the big O notation. Okay, and we can also ask that what can I do repeat task in programming. So let's just see. Okay, we have the answer that we can use the loops to repeat a task in the programming, and it is also giving us the code snippets as well. Okay, and we can even ask what is the most efficient algorithm for searching. So this is how you can ask the questions. Just like I said, it is a computer of the Courage the Cowardly Dog, so it is working in the same way. Okay, the second thing you can do with the ChatGPT is to write the code just by giving the description that what do you actually want. And now we will learn to write the code using the ChatGPT. Okay, so first of all, I will write down a simple code. So write hello world in Rust. And it will give us the code of hello world in the Rust. Okay, so this is it. And we can also write down write product card and HTML, CSS, and it will give us the code of the product card using HTML and CSS. Alright, so now you can see here we have the code of the HTML and the CSS, and this is how you can use it for the coding. So let's just go deeper into writing the code. So I would ask the ChatGPT to write a function to validate the email, and we will also use it to generate the test cases and also generate test cases for that function. Alright, so now you can see that we have the code of the function in the Python and we also have the test cases, and we can also have the same code in any other language. So I would ask the ChatGPT to write the same function in JavaScript. So it would give us the same function in the JavaScript with the test cases as well. All right, so this is how it does work. Now it's the time to use the code for the real time. So I would actually create a registration page in the HTML, and I will also create an API in the Node.js for that particular registration page. So let's just start write registration form and HTML, and I will use the Tailwind CSS for the styling with name, father name. Alright, so I asked the ChatGPT to generate the registration page with the HTML and the Tailwind CSS with these particular fields and the questions. Okay, so let's just hit the enter, and we would have the code for the registration page. Okay, and we would copy that code in the VS Code, and we'll actually test the code for the real time. Alright, so we have generated code for the registration form. So let's just copy this code, and I would open up the VS Code. And as you can see here that I have already created a HTML page. I will simply paste the code here, save the file, and I would open it with the live server. And now you can see that we got the registration form that was generated in the ChatGPT. So now what I would do now, I would create the API for this particular registration form. Okay, so let's just go back to the ChatGPT, and I will ask it write down an API for this registration form in Node.js. Alright, so now you can see that we have the ready core of the API for the registration form, but I want to handle the error as well. So I would write down add error handling in this API. So it would actually add the error handling in this API in case we don't get the exact values. Alright, so we got the API code. So let's just copy this code and use it in this file. Let's just paste it here, and we have to go inside the API, and I would call Node API. Okay, so the API is running on the port 3000. So let's just check our API on the Postman. So this is actually the route. So let's just send the request, and we would have the error. Alright, so now you can see that we have the response. So for example, if I try to give any value to it, such as the email, so it will return me the email. Okay, so now you can see that we have the email. So it simply means the API is working. Alright, so this is how you can use the ChatGPT to create the UI and the API for your project. You can even use it for the database development as well, but I will leave that up to you, that how can you integrate the database to your backend, and how can you create the database for this particular project. So for the database development, I can write down that write a table with following columns, and it will simply create table with the following columns and the SQL or the MySQL. Okay, you will get the query here. Alright, so stop generating. We have to write this write MySQL table. It was actually writing down the table in the HTML, but we have to write down the MySQL table. So now it would give us the query to create that MySQL table. Okay, so here you go. Okay, so this is how you can use it to generate the queries for the table. Okay, and you can also write down that write down the query to select only those names that start with A and ends with O. Okay, and it will give you the query for the particular task. Okay, so this is how you can generate the queries using the ChatGPT. All right, so I guess it's enough for writing the code in the ChatGPT. So this is how you can use it. And the third thing that you could do is to explain the code. You can give a particular code to the ChatGPT and it will explain you that particular code in detail. Let's just paste it here, and I will simply write down explain this code, and it will simply explain the code line by line. Okay, so now you can see here, now it will actually explain the code line by line. Okay, so the first thing, the second thing, and so on. Okay, so this is how you can use it to understand the code if you're getting the code from your fellow developer or from the GitHub. And the fourth thing that you could do is to improve the code. All you need to do is to write down the code, and along with that just write down the improve this code, and it will actually improve your code. So let's just say I want to use this code snippet here, and let's just put this inside the double quotation, and I will write down improve this code, and it would give you a better code for that particular task. Okay, so that is actually the improved version. So let's just improve the code of any other code snippet. So I would go with this. So paste it here, improve the readability and efficiency of this code. Okay, so let's just hit the enter and we would have the improved code. Okay, so this is how you can actually improve your code using the ChatGPT. And the fifth thing that we could do is to convert the code from any particular language to any other language, for example from the JavaScript to the Python or etc. So if I would say, let's just copy this and put the double quotations here, and I will write down convert this code into C++, and it would simply convert this code into the C++. Okay, so this is how it is done in seconds. Okay, so now you can see this. And the sixth thing that you could do is to generate the dummy data for your own project. So let's say I want to generate the data for 20 users. So I would write down generate the data for 20 users with name, email, profession. Okay, so it would generate the data for the 20 users. Okay, so I have to provide a better query here. So it's in JSON format, not the code. So it would actually give me the plain data here. Okay, so this is how you can use it to generate the dummy data for your dummy project. Okay, and one thing in generating the dummy data is that it will not actually give you a lot of the data. As you can see here, I asked for the 20 users, but it only gave me the 3 users. So how can we do the trick here? So I would write down write 20 objects. Now it would give me the data of the 20 objects. Okay, alright, so now we have the dummy data for the practice purpose. And the seventh thing that you could do with the ChatGPT is to ask the suggestion for your code. So for example, let's just give it a scenario that I want to use search algorithm for searching the products in my e-commerce app. What would you suggest best algorithm, binary search or any other? So let's just run this and we would have, it will give us the suggestion for that particular project. Alright, so this is how you can get the suggestions for your code with the ChatGPT. And the last thing that you could do with the ChatGPT is to give a code with a bug and it will find and fix that bug. Okay, so let's just take the code snippet from here. So let's just say, okay, I want to go with this. So let's just copy this and put this in the double quotation, and let me just do a typo mistake here. It would obviously generate the error, so let's just run this, and I would write down find and fix the bug. It would actually fix the bug for us. Alright, so as you can see here that it actually found the bug, that there is a bug in the while loop where the variable way is not being incremented. Okay, that was the mistake that we have done. Alright, so that was actually the typo error. So now let's just give it a logical error and see how does it go here. Okay, so I would actually the greater find and fix the bug. Let's just see how it goes here. Alright, so now you can see here that it actually found the logical error that we have done here, that it has to be the less than instead of the greater than here. Okay, so this is how we can use the ChatGPT. Obviously now is the time of the AI and we cannot ignore this. We have to adopt the AI to improve our productivity, creativity, and to write the better, fast, and the efficient code. Okay, so this is it for this video, and we'll meet in the next video.